Thank you for joining me in this fabulous book. Muhammad Sal'lal'laa'hu alayhi wasallam, his life based on the earlier sources, and we are busy with the year of sadness, and this is part number 88. And we just, in the previous episode, to recap, Abu Bakr Siddiq, the persecution on Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh is becoming very severe now, and he took permission from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that he wants to now leave Mecca and he wants to now go to Abyssinia. So, having obtained permission of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr Siddiq set out to join those who had remained in Abyssinia. We know that Ja'far bin Abi Talib was still there. But before he had reached the Red Sea, he was met by Ibn al-Dughuna. Dughuna, at that time the head of a small group of confederate tribes not far from Mecca, and they were the allies of the Quraysh. This Bedouin chief had known Abu Bakr, right? He knew it because Abu Bakr knew a lot of people. So he knew a lot of chiefs, he knew a lot of business people on his business travels. And this person knew Abu Bakr, he knew the qualities of Abu Bakr, he knew Abu Bakr Siddiq to be a noble person, a dignified person, a very, humble and kind, respectable person, right? So this Bedouin chief had known Abu Bakr Siddiq well in his days of affluence and influence, yet now he had the appearance of a wandering hermit. Excuse me. So when this chief met Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, he was very, very surprised because Abu Bakr Siddiq was a man of influence and affluence. He had wealth. He was a very wealthy person, and he used to always wear good clothes. He used to be very dignified, But now he saw this stranger walking in the desert with his family, and he looks like a wandering hermit. It looks like a lost case, that what is going on? You are such a noble person, such a dignified person, but now you're like a lost case. What happened to you? So amazed at the change, he questioned him. So Abu Bakr Siddiq told him, "My people have ill-treated me and driven me out, and all I seek is to travel over the face of the earth, worshipping God." So Ibn ad-Daghuna said, "But why have they done this? You are as an ornament to thy clan, a help in misfortune, a doer of right deeds. You are ever fulfilling the needs of other people." So same quality like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, subhanAllah, right? Ever fulfilling the needs of other people. Return to Makkah, for you are under my protection. So he's giving him, Abu Bakr Siddiq, his protection. Now in the times of Arabia, you needed a protection from a chief of a tribe. If that person declares, "This person is under my protection," no one dares touch him. Because if anyone touches that person, then that entire tribe will fight against that person who touched that person under whose protection you are given. So without that protection, you are in a very precarious situation. And that is the situation with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because now Abu Talib has passed away. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also got no protection, right? So his situation is very dangerous and very, very precarious, because now Abu Jahl will now get the upper hand, and his uncle Abu Lahab will now vie for position for the new chief of the Abdul Muttalib tribe or the Bani Hashim tribe, and that's going to make life even more difficult for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So let's get back to Abu Bakr Siddiq. So Ibn ad-Dugana said, "Return to Makkah, for you are now under my protection." So he took Abu Bakr Siddiq back to Makkah and spoke to the people, saying, he went to the public place as was normally the custom, and he said, "O men of Quraysh, I have given my protection to the son of Abu Quhafa, so let no one treat him other than well." So just treat him in a good way. He is under my protection. So Quraysh confirmed the protection and promised that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh would be safe, but at the instigation of the Bani Juma, they said to his protector, so they said they had got a condition: "We will not harm him, provided tell him to worship his Lord indoors, only indoors, and to pray and recite what he will there inside his house, but tell him not to cause us trouble by letting it be seen and heard, for his appearance is striking, and he has with him a way, so that we fear lest he seduce our sons and our women." So they don't want him to pray in public like at the Kaaba. He can pray at his own house, he can pray wherever he is, but he mustn't come out in the streets or in public, because when he prays, the way he cries at some emotional parts of the Quran, or the way he recites some of the verse with passion, then the people, they stop and they're listening to, they're amazed at the way he's reciting. And now those people say, "No, we don't even want people to listen to him," right? So Ibn al-Dawqana told this to Abu Bakr, and for a while he prayed only in his house and made there his recitations of the Quran. And for a while the tension was relaxed between him and the leaders of the Bani Juma. Abu Talib was succeeded by Abu Lahab, the enemy of the Prophet ﷺ, as chief of the Banu Hashim tribe. But the protection that Abu Lahab gave his nephew was merely nominal, right? He just said, okay, his son, I'll look after him. But it's just a namesake. He did not really want to help him. And the Prophet ﷺ was ill-treated as never before. So the persecution increased. On one occasion, a passerby leaned over his gate and tossed a piece of putrefying offal into his cooking pan. Right, so while Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam cooking, this guy threw the offal, which is the insides of the camel or the cow, and threw it onto his food. And once when he was praying in the courtyard of his house, a man threw over him a sheep's uterus filthy with blood and excrement. And they've got this thing, they were just throwing the byproducts of animals onto Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And in one case, the famous case, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was praying in Sijda. One of the people threw the insides of a camel onto his messed his whole body while he was in Sijda, and his beloved daughter Fatima radiallahu anha had to take all of those things out. Imagine the trauma that this young child Fatima radiallahu anha had to go through to see her beloved father being treated as a noble person, a wonderful human being who has been helping everyone, helping the poor, the widows, the orphans, a kind gentleman, the one with such beautiful manners, akhlaq, personality, and to see her father in this condition, it is very, very difficult to understand what she went through. So before disposing of it, the Prophet ﷺ picked up the object that they threw on him on the end of a stick and said, standing at his gate, "O sons of Abdul Manaf, what protection is this?" He had seen that the offender was Uqba, the stepfather of Uthman, Ruqayya's husband. On another occasion, when the Prophet ﷺ was coming from the Kaaba, a man took a handful of dirt and threw it in his face and over his head. When he returned home, one of his daughters washed him clean of it, weeping, and she was crying all the time. So the Prophet ﷺ, please don't cry, told his daughter, please don't cry. God will protect thy father. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect me. Look at the difficulty his family went through. Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was then that he decided to seek help from Taqif, the people of Taif, a decision which eloquently reflected the apparent gravity of his situation in Mecca. So now the Prophet ﷺ realized that, look, things are really getting very, very bad in Mecca. Let me try to the next, because there were two big cities in Mecca. It was the city of Mecca, and it was at least in Arabia, the city of Mecca and the city of Taif. It was like as if in South Africa you got Johannesburg and Cape Town, right? So these are the two main big cities, or you got Pretoria and Johannesburg, or Durban and Cape Town, some of the big cities. So in Arabia, it was Mecca and Taif. Finding no joy in Mecca, he then said, okay, let me go to Taif. Maybe I'll find some support in Taif, and maybe perhaps that can strengthen my mission. Stay well. Join me in the next session where we'll see the famous trip, and I'm sure you know the story, but it's so beautiful just to remember what it happened to, and the magnificent, beautiful dua that he made when he was in an orchard. And if you've gone through any type of suffering or difficulty, then so many times we recite the dua, and it gives us so much strength and support. Subhanallah. Stay well. Look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.